Hello everybody and welcome back to the damn sofa. That's the damn sofa and this is my damn sassy sidekick, Mr. Roscoe P. Coltrane, and my damn name's Paul. I hope everybody out there is doing wonderful and well this evening or this morning or this afternoon, whenever you are watching. Now today we have gathered around the proverbial sofa and the literal sofa to keep talking about this you-know-what show, the Depp versus Heard defamation trial. So what we are doing is we are going to be continuing with just breaking down some of the trial footage, specifically Amber Hood. That's what we should really be calling it at this point. It's just terrible. Amber Heard's testimony. And just kind of making commentary on it. Now, I have to go ahead and just slap this warning label on this, y'all. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a cop. I'm not anything at all to be giving any kind of informed, stuff on this. These are my opinions. They are not fact. That does not make any of this stuff real, okay? It's for entertainment purposes only, okay? So just take it with a grain of salt, all that I am saying. I do not know any of these people personally. So there's that. Specifically in this one, we're going to be going over some pretty big whammies, some marriage proposals, some prenuptial agreements, stuff of that nature. It gets pretty cheap and tawdry if you ask me. So there is all that. And before we do get started, I do want to say thank you to everybody who makes the sofa possible, who makes this community possible. It literally would not be here without you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Now, as you saw on this, well, actually, I think this is going to be part 3, maybe. I'm starting to lose count. God help me. I think this is part 3. If you have not watched part 2, and especially if you have not watched part 1, please go back and watch it because it has a little Roscoe sponsor in it. So if not for anything, just go watch it to see his little commercial. Y'all, he took it so seriously. So serious. I'm going to put a little card up here if you can click it. He was so serious about it, y'all. It's so damn cute. I mean, he studied his lines. He stayed up all night. So go check it out. So the layout for this is going to be this. We are going to just play some clips. I'm going to make commentary on it, and we're going to pretty much watch it through our eyes like this because the cringe is that damn bad on it, okay? And in fact, Roscoe, is it time for you to go to your safe space on the sofa?
Say yes, Father. I don't think I can handle any more of this trial.
Okay. So go ahead and make sure you are buckled into your damn sofa seatbelt if you got one. And let's go ahead and begin this show.
And it was really sweet. He got down on one knee and said, I want you to be my girl forever, my woman, my girl. I want you to be the rest of my life. Say yes to me. He said he wanted to spend every day.
One thing that I find super creepy about this is not only, and we've talked about this, a lot of you have mentioned it in the comments, is number one, how she looks at the jury, but also how she takes it back to this very primal thing. Like he said, I wanted you to be my woman, my girl, my woman, and I'm just it's like this me Tarzan, you Jane, and again, like I said, I don't know them personally. He could have said these things, right? And I mean, it's kind of going back to this whole romanticized thing, because there is something almost romantic, very pretty woman about this being swept off of the street corner, if you will, into this Hollywood man's arms, and you're my woman, you don't have to pay for anything, I'm taking care of you type situation. But her delivery of it, and then staring the jury down do you believe it? Do you believe it? That kind of a thing, right? It's just so disarming.
He promised me that every day when I woke up, that I would wake up and he would make me smile at least once. And that would be his goal. And
okay, a couple of things on this one. First of all, it finally hit me and dawned on me, the familiarity of her, I'm going to call it performance. Again, that's just me saying that allegedly. I don't know this 100%. But a friend and I used to, we would play act, right? Being silly and stuff like that. And we would do these same behaviors. And I noticed her doing these. And so I was it's like she's mimicking them, right? It's like she's mimicking what she thinks a person would do. And when she was and that, I've done that before, but I'm making a joke out of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not being for real. And so that's where I'm I I don't believe the emotions that she's mimicking, and that's the key word, is mimicking. And again, I don't know for sure. These are just my opinions. And I'm not a psychologist or anything. Yeah, but it's just my own walk in life that has led me to here that makes me say that I don't believe this. I don't get an authentic vibe off of it. And then again, the story that she tells, it's very dramatic. No, again, these are actor people, right? They're going to be dramatic. Like, we get this. This is, what they do for a living, right? Both her and Johnny, okay? We get it. Johnny more so than her. He's a little bit more, of a vetted out actor than she is, I would say. Anyways, but this whole thing of, he told me, he promised me, he's gonna make me smile once a day. And I'm just like, this is sounding very manic. That bugs me out a little bit, right? That just, it's just, those are almost things when you're in that first bliss time with somebody, that even then, I don't know, if somebody said that to me, I would have a hard time I'd just laughing, right? I don't know. Anyways, let's keep going.
I looked into his eyes and I saw my future.
Dollar signs, movie contracts. This is the part where she's laying it on thick too, y'all. She's laying it on real damn thick, okay? I'm talking thick. And again, it's just with the dramatics. And again, and I've said this in the other videos and I'll keep saying it again, I think one thing that normal people, again, air quotes, I hate using the word normal, people who aren't like this, have an issue with is, I think she's trying to, number one, dramatize what she's doing, and then trying to portray a certain behavior that she thinks that people are expecting to see. And so she thinks people are expecting to see someone upset over a certain moment, and she's trying to portray what she thinks that they think that looks like. That's very confusing for me to even say, but I hope that makes sense. And because she doesn't know how to, she probably doesn't feel that normally, so she's making it up what she thinks that is. Again, she's an actress, so she's making this up what she thinks, right? And it's being very dramatic. It's almost and again, I would be like this, if I could be her director in there, I would be like, you're not playing on a stage and playing to the person in the back of the audience, you're playing to the camera in an intimate scene. So bring it down, bring it in. Think on playing to a camera, not on an audience, not on a stage, because that's the vibe she's giving.
Hope, blind hope, so in love. It was one of the most, I can't describe that kind of joy, I thought, if we were married, then this is real. This is real. This isn't a thing of, this isn't chaotic, this will change. I had so much hope in that moment.
Okay, so again, look at the context of what she's saying. First of all, this is years after. She's going back and describing this. Now, this is someone who has allegedly gone through all this abuse of a variety, right? Allegedly. This is, alleged, right? All this kinds of abuse. Oh my God, it was terrible. Oh, this and that. Oh, all this stuff, right? Won all this money, all this kind of stuff, right? So she's trying to give, going down memory lane, oh, what could have been, what should have been, all this stuff. I'm serving upset. We could have had this wonderful life. Oh, what a tragedy. Romeo and Juliet, that kind of thing. And again, think back to somebody who you went out with, right? You were married to, whatever. Hot and heavy, that kind of thing. And it's done with, it's over with. You've moved on, especially if there's turmoil. Can you conjure up this level of, I don't want to say tears because we haven't really seen tears, but you know what I'm saying? This, again, is where it doesn't make sense, is what I'm getting at, okay? It doesn't make sense. What she is trying to sell to us doesn't make sense. I'm thinking back to people who I dated 20 years ago, who I would have been this upset in the beginning when I found out they cheated on me, they did this and they did that. But now I'm just kind of who? What? Oh, thank God. Thank God I'm not with him. I would expect out of her if all this stuff had gone down this way, and again, this is alleged, I don't know if this is, this is just my opinions, but if all this had gone down the way that she claims that it had, this would be, well, thank God I'm not with him. What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Yeah, I got married. What was I thinking? You see what I'm saying? But this right here, this is crazy on display. And here's the thing too, this is why the internet has latched onto this, because the internet can sniff things out, right? And especially here in the true crime world. Now this is celebrity, so you have people who aren't really interested in true crime coming into it because they're interested obviously into this too. It pours over into the huge arena. But here in true crime world, when we watch this stuff all the time, we see this behavior all the time, right? So to us, it's like familiar, right? We're like, well, wait, we see Anthony Todd, Ted Bundy, Diane Downs, you know what I'm saying? Like all this stuff, like we see this. So Chris Watts, we see this kind of behavior. And to see her up here just laying it on like a thick mayonnaise damn sandwich. I mean, it's just, it blows my mind. So anyways, let's keep watching.
And I just said to him over and over again, are you serious? Are you real? Are you serious? Are you sure? Because he didn't have a ring. So I thought, is this an impulse thing? My experience, Johnny, could be very impulsive. And he said over and over again, be my woman forever. I want you to be my wife, my wife, my wife. I, of course, cried, and we had a wonderful evening, and he left shortly after.
Man, he's sitting over there at his little table going, damn, if I could have just told myself then just to run, just to damn run, right? And I mean, I wish you could just have a relaxed conversation with him and be like, dude, like, what was it? Obviously, Johnny has his own stuff going on. We're not denying he doesn't have some issues with substances, right? This is someone who, he's got some stuff going on, okay? There's no denying that. So you have to wonder, like, was she, when you see all of the warning signs that were going on with her, all of this stuff, and he still chose, to get with her. And the same could be said, all the stuff she's alleging, and she still chose to get with him, because all the stuff that she has spouted off about him, I'm like, why would you get with him? I think the question is more obvious on that side, because, I mean, he's got a lot of money, he's very famous, she's coming to LA wanting to be a famous actress. I mean, add the two and two together, right? And maybe the same could be said for him. She's an attractive young lady, so it might be like, well, you know what, he wanted to get with her and have some arm candy. I mean, who knows, right? But you would think, I don't know, I can't for the life of me decide why he would want that level of drama that would risk that kind of a career. I mean, look at what happened, right? Like, why would you risk that when you could have anybody? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I get at, is like, you could have anyone. Like, why put up with this? Did she keep the crazy reeled in long enough? You know what I mean? To like lasso him in. That's, who knows? We may never know.
And I was like, the next day I had to go to work, and I couldn't tell anyone, and I wasn't sure. Part of me was worried that he didn't mean it, or or that he wasn't sure. I just didn't want it to be an impulse thing, so I didn't want to mention it. I want to bring it up. I didn't want to.
Here's the thing, I would not last like 5 seconds in Hollywood, because like if I went there and like someone like Johnny Depp or someone like that was like, you're gonna be my woman, or you're gonna be my man, you're gonna be my husband, whatever the case may be, whatever like that, and it was like I had to go to work the next day, and she's all like, well, I couldn't tell anybody. I'm like, girl, damn tabloids, the world would have known within 5 days. I wouldn't be able to keep my damn mouth shut. I would have tattled the damn tabloids up one side, down the next. The damn UK would know. Everybody would know within 5 seconds flat. I would have been married and divorced within 30 seconds. I mean, this would have been over and done with, right? Hollywood would have chewed me up and spit me out before I even could book a plane ticket back home.
And I kind of I walked around for a few days like I had butterflies under my skin. And then he brought my dad out to London with my best friends. And my dad told me, Johnny has asked me permission for your hand in marriage. And I felt like the luckiest woman in the world.
Again, after all this, after everything, and I don't know. I feel like the level of dramatics and the pretend crying, and again, I'm not there. I don't know if she's really pretending, but it doesn't seem like she's really crying. I'm not getting why she's so upset at this point, because I'm just like, the things that she has come out with and the just the things she said, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I don't understand why. Aside from, my feelings, which are the pandering to the jury, right? Yes, it sounds like a very romantic notion. This sounds very Pretty Woman. This literally sounds like very Pretty Woman, very Princess Bride, very stolen idea from some movie scripts, to be quite frank, allegedly. But, I would love to know what the jury's faces look like. I would just give good damn money to see the looks in their faces.
After I finished my movie, I moved in with him into his house in London, a rented house in London.
Okay. And describe your experiences during that time period.
Another thing, and I've said this before in my other videos about this, that I just find kind of interesting, is just the peek into the world of celebrity. Just hearing this, I finished my movie and I moved into his rented house in London, and you hear this, like, remember Michael Jackson, and he has this home and rented this house and da-da-da. It's just so fascinating to me. And one thing I always wonder with these celebrities like this, do they have a sense of home, right? They have all this tons of money and they can anything at their fingertips, but they have a sense of like home, if that makes sense. Now let's listen to what she had to say about some of the experiences with him being on set. And again, this is where we see her continue to kind of delve into like her passive aggressive, and sometimes not even passive aggressive, but aggressive way of throwing him under the bus, using his sobriety or his not sobriety, weaponizing it against him and his public image.
Go ahead. Okay, please continue.
I watched. I was shocked that he could do it. One of the security guards carried Johnny like a baby into the house, and I looked at that, and his boots were hanging over the security guard's arm, who had to negotiate getting through the doorway, carrying Johnny like this. And I watched this, his assistants and the other security guards shaking their head, just shaking their head, acknowledging this is how bad it is.
Now she says this, and if this is true, and again, I say this with a lot of the stuff that she says, because part of me would like to think that some of this is true, that like surely she can't be up here making everything up, but I question so much of what she says, right? And again, I don't know her, I don't know Johnny, obviously, so I don't know what is true and what isn't, but just simply due to the fact of the dramatics and some of the things that have been shown to be not true, we have to question a lot of what comes out of her mouth, right? And so it's no secret Johnny has his issues with substances and whatnot. He doesn't hide this at all, right? And it is sad and it's unfortunate. And I hope that whatever his issue has does not, get the best of him at some point, right? What I have an issue with is the way that she weaponizes it against him. And what I also have an issue with is that she seems to kind of take this holier-than-thou road when, you hear these stories coming out about her where, and she'll get further into this, where I'm just like, people have horrible stories to tell about her on set. She acts like she's a little angel, right? Now maybe she's not getting passed out and that kind of stuff, whatever, right? But she acts like this little Miss Angel. I've never done anything wrong. I've never done anything. Oh, well, there was the MDMA experience on the airplane with Johnny. You see where I'm going with this? Like, it's this, she has a very rehearsed way of prettying up things. And what I mean by very rehearsed, it's like you can tell she's cultivated a story of dressing something up to make it sound and look nicer than it was over the years, but she doesn't afford him that same measure on so many things.
Did you have an argument with Mr. Depp relating to Lily Rose in November 2013?
Yes.
Can you please describe that?
Well, I was, these kids were.
Okay, I think we just witnessed like an episode, right? She just literally had a damn episode. Now, this is one of the things that I was talking about, that what we're going to see her do is spin a whole bunch of things. And again, I don't know, I was not there. I don't know these people, so I don't know if this is true. But she's going to utilize these experiences and feign it in the whole thing of, oh, but the children. And you can, it looks, in my opinion, that her least concern is the children, and it's more concerned about tarnishing an image, making people look bad, and trying to take this whole oh, well, look at what they did and this is terrible kind of a thing. So let's just watch this play out.
I'll overrule for them.
Thank you. Please continue.
This argument happened because Johnny was. I didn't agree that this gentleman, it was a famous musician, over the age of 18, spent the night at the house, and I felt protective over Lily Rose and concerned.
Now, I was waiting for her to spill the tea on what the name was, who the name was, right? But also this look that she did. Remember this ice skater that did that look when she didn't get first place, and she was like, she went viral for doing it. So it's these looks that she does where it's like she's mimicking something. She's pretending to give a certain thing of, how do I say this? I don't want to make him look bad, but that kind of a thing, right? It's like she's pretending to do this, but it's exactly what she's doing, and she knows she's doing it, right? And I'm having an episode now over it, right? I just wondered, does she not think that people notice this, right? Do the attorneys not tell her this? I'm sure usually personality types like this can't be told anything, right? That it's their worst downfall. You cannot ever tell them anything. They know everything, right? Every personality type I've dealt with like this, they know every last thing. You cannot tell them different. If you tell them that the sky is blue, they will fight you tooth and nail to convince you it's any other color than that. And it's the most fascinating thing to see, because it's literally the most fascinating thing to see, because they're their own worst enemy. Damn near entertaining. Well, obviously it is entertaining.
And naturally, they were not my children. It's not my place, and I understand that. I know it's a sensitive subject, so I understand why Johnny got so upset with me.
Now you see what she's doing here, where she's like, it's a sensitive subject, not my children, not my place. So I see why he got upset with me. I mean, this is so slimy. This is so slimy, right? I mean, all the stuff she's doing here to make it look like the gaslighting and like, oh, well, I was concerned about the age difference, but I mean, I guess they're not my children. That's, the most important thing to them, and you're just like, my God, can you imagine an everyday argument with a personality type like this? And a lot of you out there have mentioned in the comment sections that you either currently live with or have lived with. But most all of us have encountered a person like this, whether it's in our personal lives, at work, something. And I mean, they're horrible. They're horrible people to run into and to deal with. And the unfortunate thing is they usually are not very fixable people. They're usually like broken to such a degree that there's really no coming back, right? I mean, it just kind of is what it is. And so unfortunately, they just go around causing havoc, right? Looking to fulfill whatever black void in their soul is needing to be filled.
But that and the introduction of the weed with his daughter, she was so young, I just felt protective.
And again, the last thing, the introduction of the weed. I mean, isn't it legal in California? Not that I'm saying that's right, wrong, very different with the age stuff. But again, you see, and then I just felt so protective, and I'm like, holy, she probably introduced it. She probably what it gave it to her. And I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying that, making a joke. So anyways, it's just that kind of stuff. It's so icky and infuriating.
Take us to the engagement. There was an engagement party, correct?
Then, yes, come Christmas, of 2013, Johnny had rented this beautiful mansion in Malibu on the beach. It was gorgeous. And he brought my family out, and his family was out, obviously in LA, and we stayed in this rented mansion, and we're all together for the holidays. And one evening we were going to his mother's house, his mother, who you've heard about.
Now, again, side note, with the whole thing, the rented homes in Malibu, oh, the mother, we're going to see her, my family's being flown out, all this stuff. Just the snippet into the lifestyle is so fascinating to me, you know. And again, to hear the wow, the like, oh, this rented home in Malibu. I'm still fascinated over the 5 penthouse, the buying the entire floor of penthouses, right? I'm like, why would you want to rent a house in Malibu when you have that? But, you know, I mean, I get it, right? But just that alone, I'm like, my God, like the money these people have, I can't wrap my mind around it. It's just absolutely crazy. And I mean, I think that that kind of money can make you go crazy.
Was older and sick, but at home being cared for. And one evening we're going to have dinner, Christmas dinner there with her around the time of her birthday as well. And my best friend said, you should
Objection, hearsay.
Sorry.
Wasn't offered to prove the truth of the matter, but go ahead. Go past that. What did you do?
We went to Betty Sue's house, his mother's house, and Johnny proposed in front of our families in this big, you know, surprise. He surprised me.
Now, again, if this is how this went down and all that, I mean, it does sound very romantic, very, take my breath away. Side note, we're going to be seeing Top Gun Part 2 soon. I'm so excited. I mean, it does sound very romantic. It does, I'll say it 100 times in this video. It sounds very Pretty Woman. And again, she's painting this story out very, you know, boom, 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 boom. He's wowed her in this way. It's all very storybook, you know. So let's keep going.
Got down on one knee and you know, I cried and hugged my mother and hugged his mother, and he gave me this enormous diamond ring, and it was a nice time. Okay.
I desperately am going to be looking up the size of the diamond ring, right? I can't believe I haven't done that already. I would love to know what the mother thought in the beginning, right? Like, what was the vibe back then? Not now, not, you know what I'm saying, but back then. Would love to know that. I mean, obviously, God rest her soul, I know she's not here now talking about Johnny's mother. But back then, during that, obviously, we know with his kids, we know the vibe now, right? But back then, during when everything's cloud nine, what was the vibe like then? Because you know how it is, like, I mean, especially if it's your own, if it's your son, if it's your parent, whatever, dating somebody new, a lot of times there can be that kind of tension just because it's like, well, they might be taking someone away from, you know, they're taking my person away from me or whatever. But oftentimes where your loved one is blinded by something, your people will see something they don't. Well, can you imagine the stuff that Johnny's people might have been seeing? I mean, yikes. You employed a woman named Kate James, is that correct?
Objection, leading.
What, if any, relationship did you have with Kate James?
She was my assistant at the time. I hired her sometime in 2012 and had as minimal contact with her as I possibly could. So.
And why is that?
Okay, so a couple of things about this clip. First of all, look at the facial tones that change on her, the facial expressions. Like, she can't hide them. Like, the snarls that start coming out, right? She can't control them. Like, it's just like this. If she cannot control them, it's like involuntary. And so then immediately, like, I hired her in as little contact with her as possible. So this is one thing with, like, Hollywood people. And again, I just have no idea how that world works. And one thing that fascinates me is when you sit here and you talk to people, or you see these shows, not talk to people like I'm, you know, like hanging out in LA or whatever. I'm living in North Carolina. But when you see these shows and stuff where people like, I'm so-and-so's assistant, and this is what my life is like, or whatever. But how these people land these gigs, which I would never want to work for a celebrity ever because of people like this, right? But So here's Amber. Oh, I had as little as contact to deal with her, and I'm like, well, why would you? I mean, I don't see how that works. Like, what kind of an assistant was she, right? Like, I don't understand that world enough to be like, are there multiple assistants? Like, what does an assistant do? Like, is this an assistant that's like, this person is my assistant in this town to make sure that this house is running, and that's all they do? You know what I'm saying? Or this person is in LA to make sure that, I don't know, a script gets delivered. Like, I don't know that world, but it's fascinating to me. And so when you hear about these assistants that, like, actually come out and talk, and they're like, oh, I could get their dry cleaner, like, they're dealing with them one-on-one, that to me is, I'm like, well, then why would Amber not have even want to talk to her? Well, we'll hear Amber's side of it, but I mean, my God, would you expect any less? Let's let her dish.
She was difficult, troubled, and inconsistent. She drank on the job and stuff like that, and her behavior was
Objection, relevance.
horrible.
Okay, so again, Amber appears, in my opinion, to be looking like she's pretending to not want to say what she's getting ready to say. Almost like, I'm pretending to try and find the words to hold back, but I know I'm getting ready to throw her under the bus. And then if she's drinking on the job and all this, in any normal situation, she's inconsistent and this and that. Fire her then. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay. You know, she's going to keep, like, throwing her under the bus or whatever. And again, personality types that I have dealt with in the past, similar to this person, there's never any pleasing them, right? It doesn't matter. You could have a saint working for you, and these personality types are the type that are going to have to just rip everyone to shreds, right? It's just what they do. They have to destroy everyone around them and cause complete chaos. And so it doesn't matter if the assistant was doing fine. It's going to be absolute havoc and drama. Let's keep going.
Please describe for the jury what job responsibilities Kate had and how you communicated with her, and kind of how that worked.
Objection, compound.
Overruled.
Thank you.
We had minimal person-to-person interaction because I was hardly ever in LA. If I was there for a few days at a time. And
so again, I just think it's interesting how these celebrity Hollywood people live. It's like, okay, we don't have person-to-person contact. Okay, I get it. So we have minimal contact like that, maybe email, text, all this kind of stuff. I find it to be an interesting lifestyle.
Johnny and I kind of lived in this insular bubble anyway when we were together. But we would send emails, texts, and a lot of voice memos, voice notes. And, you know, if I found that if I said, Kate, you know, you left the car running with your doors open and your kids in the car on the street, you
Objection,
need to move
hearsay.
Look at the anger that she's trying to express in that and saying something that horrible. And again, we don't know. They objected. They said it's hearsay. I don't know if Kate really did that or not. But Amber was loving trying to say that to diminish her character. And this is, again, what these personality types do. But this is something more serious, but these personality types will do this over minimal stuff, right? You could literally be doing something, and I mean, I've been in this type of situation before, being like, oh, you know, there's a little something on your jacket here, and they will try and literally destroy you, even though you were not embarrassing them, you're helping them out, but they took that as this huge thing, and now they have to try and completely destroy you. So on something this grand of a level of a defamation lawsuit, and oh my God, right? This is absolutely horrible, right? So it's interesting to see her come through the seams, and this is why it's just surprising to see how free she is, how unbridled she is on the stand, because this just isn't going to serve her well in cross at all, right? Like, at all.
She's not testifying, she's testifying about context.
So I wanted to pause this for a couple of things. I love Johnny's lawyer's tie. Like, hello, I love that tie. Secondly, I just can't get over how Amber's attorney just wants to go back and forth with the judge about the judge's decisions. It's like, just move. on. Or walk up there and have the conversation like the other attorneys do. Don't act so baffled, but, it's like, come on, just move along.
In the February, I'm going to jump to February, March 2016. What, if any, communications did you have with Mr. Depp about a prenup?
Well, after the engagement, but before the engagement party, I started to feel like it would make, I know that he earned significantly more than me. He's a successful actor. I wanted to eliminate any doubt in his mind and in other people's minds. So I brought it up to him and brought it up to my therapist.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay, so now, again, we're going to have to slap this one with, y'all, these are my opinions on this. I do not know any of this for fact. I don't know her. I don't know Johnny. I don't know the therapist, any of that. But she strikes me as the type, and usually these personality types I've dealt with like her are the types that they're very socially, like, they're on it, right? And remember, even that forensic psychologist said this, like, they are really socially intelligent. She strikes me as the type that, like, probably all the stuff she's saying is true. And, like, in this context, because you'd have to be stupid not to think that everyone's going to be thinking you're a gold digger, right? He's twice your age. You're a nobody. He's Johnny Depp, right? You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing of the prenup, it's almost like this, I'm going to get ahead of the game by calling it out, if that makes sense. Like, I think she strikes me as the type of person that was probably is very good at using what it is that she wants as a manipulative tool. So, like, for example, she didn't want a prenup, so she was going to manipulate the situation by saying she wanted one. Does that make sense? Like, she was probably very good at doing that. And again, I don't know that for a fact, and that's just my opinion. But people like her that I have known were like that. Like, they were really good at doing that kind of a thing and finagling the situation that way and creating that energy to get what they wanted, which was no prenup.
She's just saying that she brought it up to her therapist. She's not saying what she said. But please focus on Mr. Depp, okay?
Of course. Johnny said he would tear it up. He said, if you ever brought one up to me, or if I ever saw one, got my hands on it, I'd tear it up. Only way out of this is death.
Okay, now on this, like, so honestly, and again, I don't know, but that does sound like a very Johnny Depp thing to say, right? The only way out of this is death. I'm like, I can see him saying that, or at least half the characters that he has played, right? So again, I would love to see the look on his face on some of these times when they're saying this, because I'm like, I just wonder if he's over there like, damn, damn, I wish I hadn't said that, or, you know what I mean? Because again, in the beginning moments, like, that's such an awkward conversation when you're first with somebody, the whole prenup conversation, you know what I mean? And it's just like, what do you do with that? And if he's just like, no, you're my woman, this is our cave, you're my woman, and I'm Tarzan, you're Jane, ain't no prenup, it's gotta be death. I mean, right? Like, this is major.
Let's take it to March 2014. Did there come a time there was an engagement party?
Yes, so it was March 2014.
Please describe for the jury.
We had an engagement party, and we decided that when we did get married, we'd have a small wedding, something intimate. But, our lives were kind of big. His life was extremely big. And we needed to we wanted to have a bigger engagement party than a wedding, and kind of get our guests in, our family, our friends, and have a big event of it, as opposed to making the wedding something that was big. And
so their little wedding, the engagement party, all this kind of stuff, you already know from what we've heard, it's gonna be drama. It's gonna be hardcore drama. And again, one thing for me, when I just listen to all this stuff that she talks about through the lens of her, right, and I cannot wait to get to the damn cross, right, is I'm just like, just the level of drama that goes on, and even what we're going to hear with some of this stuff, it amazes me that either of them still decided to get married.
Okay. And describe what took place at the engagement party.
Well, we walk in together and we took some pictures and said a few hellos, and then Johnny disappeared upstairs in, I guess it's like a coat room or something. It was in a big abandoned building that was rented out for events. And he had disappeared upstairs almost the entire party, I would say. It was kind of came down at the end when we were leaving, and came down once because he was at the time sharing drugs with my dad.
Objection. Speculation. Lack of foundation.
How do you know that he was sharing drugs with your dad?
I was there. I watched it.
Wow. Okay. Chitty chitty bang bang. That was a doozy. Now notice at the end, Johnny was like, just ever so slightly. I mean, that was like a bombshell right there, right? At the time he was sharing drugs with my dad, and I'm just like, wow, this is sounds like a real great time there. Real nice way to start the marriage off. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay, are we talking, like, what are we talking about? Like, are they shooting up in the bathroom? Are they snorting lines? Like, are they smoking a joint? Like, I mean, not that it makes a difference, right? You know, but again, you know, okay, so you arrive and then he runs upstairs and does this. Like, I mean, again, I don't care who your man is. Like, this is, the red flags are all over this, right? Like, and again, this is all alleged if this really happened this way and all this type of stuff, because, I mean, his body language is saying that he might not be agreeing with what she's saying. Probably on half this stuff, but, you know, again, it's just like, if your engagement party, if your man or your woman, it doesn't matter, but in this scenario, she's saying him, disappears somewhere and doesn't come back down to the end, God knows, especially if you legitimately found out he's upstairs, you know, partying with your dad. No, we don't marry that, honey. We just keep on going, okay? I don't care what the bank account is. You certainly don't bitch about it later. You know what I'm saying? Like, but she was getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what people feel like. I mean, that's why there's, like, not that much sympathy for it, right? And that's it. So we're going to end this here because this is going to be, like, another long video of this. I think what I'm going to do for my next one is, because a lot of people have been asking me to go back and look at the footage of her forensic, or the psychologist for their side, for Amber's side. So I'm going to go back and look over that and make some commentary on that kind of footage or whatever. And I'm going to keep making my way through this other stuff until we get caught up with when they get back into court and whatnot. So there is that. Anyways, if you're still watching, I appreciate it. Drop some sofas down in the comment section. Let me know you're still here. Thank you again to everybody who makes this channel possible. Again, it would not be here without you, and I greatly appreciate it. And Roscoe appreciates it too. And until we meet back at this damn sofa, whoosh, I'll see you every last one of you real soon.